Raidou begins his first year of high school. Due to possessing a naturally unfriendly face, he struggles to fit in and tries to become friends with Reina Aharen, who sits beside him in class. He is baffled when she either ignores him or speaks too softly. Aharen becomes extremely close to Raidou after he retrieves her fallen eraser. Raidou asks for an explanation of her behavior, so she tells him she has a warped sense of distance, which makes it difficult for her to judge when she is invading someone's personal space. When she stands too close, she seems clingy, and when she stands too far away, she appears antisocial, so she struggles to make friends. Initially, Raidou struggles to hear her when she speaks, but eventually finds he is able to hear her better as he practices listening more sensitively to small noises. At an arcade, Aharen's warped sense of distance makes her an expert on claw machines and wins many stuffed plushies from the game. As time passes, Aharen keeps getting increasingly closer to Raidou, even falling asleep on his lap after being exhausted from making him lunch in morning. At the same time, they are menacingly observed from afar by a girl. Aharen has something in her eye, so Raidou administers eye drops. Aharen claims having him close to her face is embarrassing, confusing Raidou as she often comes closer on her own. Raidou senses someone spying on him, so Aharen makes him feel better with a hug. The spy is Aharen's childhood friend Mitsuki Oshiro, a tall, nervous girl who cries a lot and doesn't trust boys. She declares she will protect Aharen, but from a distance to avoid Raidou. Aharen tries to communicate to Raidou his zipper is exposing his underwear, but ultimately has to spend the day blocking his lower body from view when he does not understand her. Oshiro notices Aharen hasn't gone home and suspecting she doesn't have an umbrella. She and Aharen share an umbrella, but due to their height difference, Aharen still gets wet. The next day, Oshiro watches Aharen from even further away using binoculars. Raidou challenges Aharen to a game of reversey. He realizes with her unusual vision Aharen is actually a skilled reversey player, ultimately calling a draw after the bell rings. Aharen comes to school with bedhead. Oshiro's family owns a hair salon, so she is able to give Aharen a haircut. She also cuts Raidou's hair despite being tempted to shave him bald. Aharen is suffering from dry lips, so Raidou attempts to apply lip balm, but messes up. Oshiro steps in again with makeup and a skin massage. Aharen later reveals she is stressed due to the growth spurt of the boy who sits in front of her, so now she can't see the chalkboard from her desk. Raidou attempts several increasingly ludicrous methods of helping her, but eventually just moves her desk closer to his own. Deciding to do something nice for her, Raidou tries to help her win at baseball, then cooks for her, in spite of his terrible food. He also helps her record them dancing together, believing she wants to be a YouTube idol, though it turns out it was a class project, and the video is a YouTube failure. On seat moving day, Aharen hugs Raidou as a goodbye, only to remain in the same place, as by chance they are reassigned their original seats beside each other. Teacher Ms. Tobaru is obsessed with classical romance. She notices Aharen and Raidou and determines they are tightly emotionally linked and is so overcome by passion watching them causing her to faint. Aharen begins acting strangely, causing Raidou to think she is demon-possessed. Realizing he needs to understand her better, he tries to teach her facial expressions and fails. Aharen discovers Japanese hip-hop and quickly masters rapping everything she says. Also, Raidou earns to rap, and they begin communicating perfectly until their microphones are confiscated. Raidou's sister gives him a fidget spinner, which Aharen becomes obsessed with it, and she teaches herself to perform tricks. Watching them, Ms. Tobaru faints again. In the park, Raidou learns Aharen's spinner tricks have made her popular with children. One little girl named Futaba is jealous because her friend Akun admires Aharen and challenges her to reversey. Aharen lets Futaba win, but despite her victory, Akun is mean to her. Then, Aharen is exhausted by the children and cannot walk, so she summons her giant dog, Nui, whom she rides back home. Aharen becomes obsessed with the game Hokeko. Raidou has the strongest creature in the game, but is still defeated by Aharen using superior strategy. At an arcade, Aharen sees Futaba attempting to with the stuffed toy for Akun so as to achieve his affection. She fails multiple times while Aharen wins several toys. Insisting on doing it herself, Futaba wins a toy on her last attempt. She later realizes Aharen, by winning all the other toys, had been maneuvering the toy into a better position for Futaba to get it. Raidou gains a lot of weight, and Aharen worries it is because she gives him her lunch every day. Meanwhile, Raidou mistakenly thinks Aharen is worried about her own weight, and while researching proper diet and exercise routines, he ends up losing the weight overnight. Exams are soon, and Raidou has not been studying, so he asks for Aharen's help. They study together, determined in finishing in the top 100 in the rankings. Thanks to their study sessions, Raidou manages to place in the top 100 in the exam. Since Aharen cannot swim, and Raidou is not a strong swimmer either, they ask Oshiro to teach them. After grasping the basics, they decide to race in the pool. Aharen wins after discovering when it is easier swimming underwater, and she can hold her breath for an extraordinary length of time. They also compete at table tennis, 10-pin bowling, and basketball, though they are both so very bad at sports. Each game ends in a draw. Aharen excuses herself to go to the bathroom, but when she returns, she suddenly begins acting strangely, and even has trouble winning toys on a crane game, requiring Raidou to win one for her. Her continued odd behavior leads Raidou to believe either she has sudden amnesia or was replaced by a clone. The real Aharen suddenly appears, revealing the new Aharen is actually her little brother Ren, who bears a striking resemblance to her. Ren enjoyed playing a prank on Raidou, but now returns home where it is revealed he enjoys dressing like a girl. Aharen forgets her lunch and decides to shop at the school cafeteria. Aharen ends up crowd surfing over the mob of hungry students, only managing to buy one bun which Raidou trades for his own lunch. Aharen's dog Nui appears with her lunch, which she trades with Raidou. Aharen and Raidou play Old Maid, and Raidou loses every game. At the park, Futaba refuses to believe Aharen's massive lunch is for only one person, and accuses her of trying to seduce Akun with food. Though when she finds Aharen's cooking is superior to her own, she asks Aharen for help making a bento. The next day, Futaba accuses Aharen of poisoning the bento and making Akun ill, until Raidou points out she forgot to refrigerate it overnight, allowing it to spoil. With an art project due, Aharen somehow produces a life-size doll of herself, so realistic it actually looks like her twin sister. It is so lifelike, Raidou struggles to sleep with it staring at him. Ms. Mayahira invites Tobaru for lunch at the rooftop. However, they are soon joined by Raidou, Aharen, and Oshiro, and seeing Oshiro's desire to sit close to them, Tobaru has trouble controlling herself. She struggles even further when Raidou and Aharen feed Oshiro and sit close to her. That night, Tobaru imagines improbable romantic scenarios between Raidou and Aharen to prepare, but faints again, with Miyahira finding her unconscious. The next day, Ishikawa and Sato invite Aharen, Raidou, and Oshiro to the summer festival. After playing some games, Aharen and Raidou realize they've lost each other. Raidou is approached by Futaba, who mistakes him for her father. After he reunites her with her father, Futaba finally thanks Raidou, albeit inaudibly. Aharen appears beside Raidou, thanking him for finding her. They watch the fireworks, as Aharen tells Raidou it is the first time she sees them in full view, as her small stature hindered her. Raidou decides to meet back with the group, and offers his hand to Aharen to take her there. She accepts it, blushing profusely. Raidou assumes a seductive, handsome appearance when he suffers from a fever. His reddened face flatters his friends, especially Aharen. The next day, everything goes back to normal after Raidou recovers. At the market, Raidou meets with Aharen's cold younger sister, Iru, as she is shopping for their dinner. She explains how much she talks about him. They go to the arcade where Raidou wins a special edition plushie after Iru failed to get it. She tells Raidou to hand over the food and plushie to Aharen himself. However, as he arrives, he declares it was all Iru's idea, and Aharen hugs her sister, thanking her for her help. While bathing with Ren, Iru discusses Aharen's closeness to Raidou, and they debate if they are dating. The next day, Raidou comes across Ren and helps him shop at the supermarket. He guides Ren after he lost his wallet, as Ren asks him if Aharen is his girlfriend. Aharen and Nui then arrive with the wallet, and after Raidou calls Aharen by her first name, she becomes embarrassed. Ishikawa proposes to go camping, and all his friends agree. Miyahira takes them all to the camping site, where Aharen realizes she forgot to pack the food. Upset, she apologizes to her friends, but Raidou gets authorized by the camp groundskeeper to pick food from the forest. While spearfishing in a creek, Raidou is joined by Oshiro. She tells him while she is jealous of the time he spends with Aharen, she has realized he is not a bad person. At night, Ishikawa proposes to go on an adventure. However, they ditch Aharen and Raidou, trying to get them together. While stargazing, Aharen attempts to confess to Raidou, but she is interrupted by an arriving Nui. Back in their tent, Aharen tells Oshiro she wishes to confess to Raidou, and Oshiro surprisingly supports her. Aharen meets with Raidou outside, where she kisses him, but runs back to her tent embarrassed. In school, Ishikawa and Sato wonder if they managed to connect. However, after seeing them act like usual, they conclude things are still the same. Aharen has created a cafe out of snow and invites Raidou inside. After classes, they discover the cafe has collapsed, so they rebuild it. Afterwards, Raidou warms Aharen's hands with his own, embarrassing her. The next day, Raidou accompanies Aharen to the nurse office to help her stretch out. After finishing, Raidou ends up falling asleep. Aharen goes in for a kiss, but they are interrupted by the nurse. However, while Aharen sleeps and Raidou is away, Ishikawa and Sato flirt. The next day, Aharen meets up with Raidou at the mall, where she tells him her family will do a New Year's meal and invites him to attend. After hanging out, they come across Futaba and Akun. Seeing Raidou so close to Aharen, Akun challenges him in the blade spinner tournament in the mall. While Raidou and Akun both lose, Aharen and Futaba emerge as champions in their divisions. After Futaba points out Aharen and Raidou's activities resemble a date, Aharen gets embarrassed. Absent this whole time, it is revealed Oshiro is undertaking swordsman training to challenge someone. In a flashback showing while Raidou was away, Oshiro asked Aharen if she and Raidou were dating, but Aharen denied it. Believing Raidou rejected Aharen, Oshiro began her training, wanting to make him pay. In the present, Raidou follows Oshiro's note and gets challenged to a duel in reverse. As they play, Oshiro remembers when she met Aharen back in middle school. She says, since he does not reciprocate Aharen's feelings, he will stop seeing her when she wins. Raidou then cuts her lead and explains at the campsite Aharen was unable to confess, but he did tell her he liked her. This stuns an arriving Aharen, who explains how happy she was when Raidou confessed. Oshiro apologizes, and Aharen finally tells Raidou she likes him too. Sometime later, Raidou discovers Aharen's secret lupinous garden, and they begin tending it together. Aharen then invites their friends, Miyahira and Tobaru, to a tea party, where they reflect on the approaching second year. Aharen says she is scared they might be separated, but Raidou assures he and their friends will be there for her.